It was a quiet evening at Rockville Correctional Facility, an ordinary night, the kind that lulled both inmates and guards into a sense of routine and safety. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the yard, and the air was thick with the usual stillness that comes just before nightfall. But that calm was shattered on August 4th, 2008, when the unthinkable happened. In a matter of moments, the entire facility was thrown into chaos. The disruption wasn't caused by violence or a riot, but by a vanishing act so bold, so unexpected, that it left even the most seasoned officials speechless. Sarah Pender, a woman serving a lengthy sentence, was present one moment and gone the next. There were no tunnels dug, no fences cut, no walls scaled. She simply walked out, blending in perfectly, disguised as someone she was not. Her escape was a masterclass in psychological manipulation, a demonstration of how observation and patience can turn the smallest human error into a golden opportunity. Panic swept through the prison as the head count came up short. Guards rushed from cell to cell, searching every corner, but Sarah had vanished without a trace. She had slipped away like smoke, using the routines, uniforms, and even the complacency of prison life as her tools. Every detail had been studied, every weakness exploited. For months, she'd watched her captors, memorizing their habits, learning the rhythm of the facility, and turning the very system meant to contain her into her greatest ally. This was no act of brute force. It was a calculated, patient plan, executed with nerves of steel and the crucial help of an insider who believed in her cause. News of her escape spread like wildfire, captivating the public and launching one of the largest manhunts in recent memory. The story dominated headlines, and everyone wanted to know how she pulled it off. Was Sarah Pender a dangerous fugitive, or a brilliant strategist who outsmarted an entire institution? The answer seemed as elusive as Sarah herself, and speculation ran wild. Her escape was a stark reminder to all. Sometimes, the strongest walls are not made of concrete and steel, but of constant vigilance and attention to detail. Sarah didn't just escape a building. She escaped a system designed to keep her in. She exposed its flaws for the world to see. Her story became national news, her face broadcast on every screen, her name whispered in every corner of the country. The world was left to wonder, how did she do it? What secrets did she uncover, and who had helped her along the way? And as the search continued, one question lingered in everyone's mind. Could Sarah Pender ever truly be caught, or had she already won the ultimate game of deception? Before her escape, Sarah Jo Pender was a promising Purdue graduate from East Chicago, Indiana. She was known for her sharp mind, her drive to succeed, and her ability to connect with people from all walks of life. Friends and family saw her as someone destined for a bright future, a young woman who had overcome obstacles to earn her degree. But after graduation, Sarah's life took a dramatic turn. Intelligent and ambitious, she fell into the city's drug scene, where she met Andrew Cataldi, Tricia Nordman, and her boyfriend, Richard Hull. The allure of fast money and excitement pulled her deeper into a dangerous world, far from the life her family had imagined for her. In 2000, tragedy struck when Cataldi and Nordman were found murdered in Pender's home. The crime shocked the community and left investigators searching for answers. Prosecutors painted Sarah as the mastermind behind the killings, arguing she orchestrated the crime. Her defense, however, claimed she was manipulated and controlled by Hull, insisting she was more a victim than a villain. In 2002, after a sensational trial, a jury found her guilty of double murder and criminal confinement. The verdict stunned those who knew her as a promising student. At just 23 years old, Sarah was sentenced to 110 years in prison, her future seemingly erased in an instant. Inside prison, Sarah became a model inmate, earning trust, taking classes, and blending in. She volunteered for programs, helped other inmates, and rarely drew attention to herself. But beneath the surface, she was planning. Every day behind bars, she studied her environment, quietly gathering information and waiting for an opportunity. Her intelligence and charisma, once her promise, became her tools for freedom. She built relationships with inmates and staff alike, earning trust while keeping her true intentions hidden. She observed, learned, and waited for the right moment and the right accomplice. Every move was calculated, every conversation, a potential piece of her plan. The stage was set for a prison break that would make headlines across the country, capturing the attention of law enforcement and the public alike. Sarah Pender was about to rewrite her story, transforming from inmate to one of America's most wanted fugitives. And the world would soon know her name, not as a student, but as the mastermind behind a daring escape. Rockville Correctional Facility, maximum security, endless routines, and constant surveillance. Designed to be inescapable, it was a fortress of brick, steel, and razor wire. Guards patrolled, cameras watched, and every movement was tracked. Yet, like any bureaucracy, routine bred complacency. Sarah studied the system shift changes, guard personalities, and the flow of people. She identified the diligent and the distracted, the cracks in the human armor. The challenge wasn't just physical barriers, it was becoming invisible in a place where everyone is watched. The only way out was through the front gate, disguised and unnoticed. For that, she needed a flawless plan and help from the inside. Rockville's vulnerabilities were subtle, but Sarah was determined to exploit them. She became a student of her environment, preparing for her greatest test. The countdown to escape had begun. No one escapes alone. Sarah needed an insider and found one in Scott Spittler, a veteran corrections officer. Using her charisma, she built a secret relationship with Spittler, making him feel seen and valued. Their forbidden romance grew, and Spittler became convinced of her innocence. As transportation sergeant, he had access, knowledge, and authority, everything Sarah needed. He provided information, smuggled in civilian clothes, and became her co-conspirator. Together, they crafted a plan: precise timing, perfect disguise, and a critical distraction. Spittler would supply the tools and create the opportunity. Sarah would prepare herself for the role of a lifetime. The seeds of escape were sown in secrecy and risk. The heart of Sarah's escape was her disguise. She couldn't use a guard's uniform, too obvious. Instead, she'd pose as a civilian staff member. Spittler smuggled in khaki pants and a dark sweatshirt, ordinary, forgettable. The clothes concealed her prison garb and helped her blend in. She changed her hairstyle, used makeup, and studied staff mannerisms for months. The most crucial element, confidence. She had to walk with purpose, never hesitating. Spittler provided a fake ID or coached her to act as if she had one. On escape day, Sarah transformed, no longer an inmate, but an anonymous face in the crowd. Every detail was rehearsed. There would be no second chance. Her disguise was her ticket to freedom. Now she just needed the perfect moment. A flawless disguise needs a perfect distraction. Sarah and Spittler waited for a scheduled gym event. When staff and inmates would be gathered, security stretched thin. Spittler staged a fake fight elsewhere, pulling guards away from key posts. The chaos created a window. Corridors were less guarded. Attention was divided. Sarah seized the moment, slipping away from her unit and changing into her disguise. The diversion worked. Guards were focused on the disturbance, not the woman in the dark sweatshirt. She moved through the administrative area, unnoticed. The noise and confusion were her cover. Sarah became a ghost, vanishing into the machine. With the diversion in full swing, Sarah began her final walk to freedom. Every step was a risk. One wrong move, and it was over. She navigated checkpoints, relying on her disguise and confidence. At a prearranged spot, Spittler waited in a prison van. As a trusted officer, he drove her toward the main gate. No one questioned him. The gate opened, and Sarah left Rockville behind. In a nearby town, she switched vehicles, received money and a phone from Spittler, and disappeared. Spittler returned to face the consequences. Sarah Pender was now a fugitive, her escape flawless. The manhunt began. The world was watching. On the run, Sarah's first priority was distance. She drove to Indianapolis, then vanished into the city. The manhunt was immediate, her face on news, posters, and America's Most Wanted. To law enforcement, she was dangerous. To some, a folk hero. Online forums buzzed with theories about her whereabouts. Sarah lived in constant paranoia. No real name, no contact with family, every stranger a threat. She moved to Chicago, took an alias, and built a new life. She found work, made friends, and blended in for over 4 months. Her intelligence and resourcefulness kept her hidden, but the media exposure made her face increasingly recognizable. The net was closing in. Sarah had proven she could survive on the outside, but her freedom was running out. One tip would change everything. On December 22, 2008, Sarah's run came to an end. A vigilant neighbor, having seen her face on America's Most Wanted, recognized her and quickly alerted the authorities. The quiet neighborhood was suddenly at the center of a nationwide manhunt's dramatic conclusion. U.S. Marshals moved in swiftly and arrested her without incident, bringing an end to 130 tense days of freedom that had captured the public's imagination and left law enforcement on high alert. Spittler, her accomplice, was also apprehended. He confessed to his involvement and was sentenced for his role in the escape, facing the consequences of his actions in a courtroom filled with tension and media attention. The daring escape exposed major security flaws within the Indiana prison system, forcing officials to conduct a sweeping review and overhaul of their procedures. New security measures were implemented to prevent anything like this from happening again. Sarah was returned to prison under much tighter security, her sentence extended by several years. She became one of the most closely watched inmates in the state, her every move monitored. Her story quickly became a case study in criminal justice programs and psychology courses across the country, sparking debate about the nature of criminal behavior and the psychology of escape. The case raised difficult questions about guilt, manipulation, and the limits of confinement. Experts and students alike continue to analyze the choices made by everyone involved. Sarah Pender's escape remains a chilling reminder that the mind can be the most powerful tool of all, capable of both extraordinary planning and manipulation, even behind bars. To this day, her case is still hotly debated. Supporters claim her innocence, organizing rallies and online campaigns, while others see her as a master manipulator. The full story is even more complex than what we've covered here, with layers of evidence, conflicting testimonies, and unanswered questions that continue to intrigue investigators and the public alike. For updates on this and other fascinating cases, follow our ongoing coverage as we dig deeper into the mysteries of the criminal justice system. The legend of Sarah Pender endures. Her audacious escape and the questions it raised have left a legacy that won't soon be forgotten.